Hello everybody, welcome to Haiku Talk. I am your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet. And today we're going to take a look at a senryu from the current issue of Wales Haiku Journal. It comes to us from Hudspeth with the first line of Kayak River Tour. All right, with that said, it's that time. Time to grab yourself a tasty beverage, sit back, relax, and let's senryu. Okay, welcome back everybody. Good to be with you again. And today we have a kind of a fun senryu. And again, senryu differs from haiku in that haiku deals with nature at large and kind of our perception or interaction with it. And senryu deals with human nature, just the things that make us human. And this poem is one of those poems that deals with the sort of disappointments in life, so to speak. And as I went through this issue of Wales Haiku Journal, there's a number of fine poems in there, but for some reason, this one just kept coming back to mind, and it just was a real pleasure to read. So that's what we're going to look at today. Again, it's from Hudspeth, and it goes like this. Kayak River Tour. The kingfisher everyone else saw. Kayak River Tour, the kingfisher everyone else saw. It's kind of a little like a Charlie Brown cartoon poem where, you know, you go on this great vacation, you have this great trip, great little experience, and then you get to the end and everyone's talking about this amazing thing that they saw, and for whatever reason you totally missed it. And, you know, I've definitely felt this feeling before that this poem gives me, and that's kind of that surprise punch at the end in the line 3, which we'll get to how this, when we break down how this poem's constructed. But I felt like, you know, it's good to celebrate the ups and the downs in life, the excitement as well as the disappointments. And the disappointments, while they are disappointing, they're no less memorable and no less something that you should kind of relish a little bit. You know, there's the crayon box of human emotion, you know, where you can use the light bright colors and sometimes you use the deep dark colors. And sometimes you get those in between bland colors like tan or something like that, you know. And this poem kind of feels like a tan one, where you're expecting to color in something great, a great big picture, and instead the only thing you're left with is a tan crayon, which you can't really do a lot with that. And so let's take a look at this. It does follow the fragment and phrase structure that we've come to know and love again and again here, where the first line of Kayak River Tour is the fragment, and the phrase is the kingfisher everyone else saw. So let's take a look at this line by line and see how this works and how it builds to that punch of disappointment. So it starts out with one of the great opening lines I think we've had in this series, which is Kayak River Tour. Kayak River Tour. I mean, is there a line that could possibly give you more to think about, more sensory experiences than something like a Kayak River Tour? I mean, my gosh, you're on the water, you're on a river, you're in a boat, you're on a tour with people. Likely the weather is good. Likely it's in a time of year where you're going to want to be out on a Kayak River Tour, so it's not going to be too cold. It might be hot, but you're on a river. So there's all sorts of things that are implied with that one first line. You got to be in a location that has a river that you could kayak on, much less pretty enough that would necessitate a whole Kayak River Tour. And if you have a Kayak River Tour, that means there's a company that gives you Kayak River Tours. So you're in a destination location here that is beautiful, that is, the weather is wonderful. The scenery is gorgeous, and you have you're on some sort of vacation trip. You're on a tour with lots of other people. So in one line, 3 words, we've painted this giant picture of experience. And really, it's quite stunning, and it's quite amazing what those 3 lines can accomplish. And well done, Lee. Fantastic. Line 2, the kingfisher. The kingfisher. Now, it's just after, we got the kayak river tour. Awesome. And kingfisher. And kingfishers are birds that are found near water. If you've ever experienced them, my experience of them anyway, when I go kayaking, they tend to be kind of disgruntled birds. They like to make a lot of noise, and they always seem to fly just ahead of my boat as I'm paddling along. And then they get annoyed to me that I've caught up to their new spot. They kind of grumble a bit, and then they go a little bit further, and they grumble, and then they fly back to where they started. So they're very loud, they're pretty, and they're noticeable. Something that I always think about when I encounter them, I always remember them after the trip. So already on a kayak river tour, the kingfisher, I got a lot to think about. I've got a moment now, a focal point on that kayak river tour. Then we get to line 3. Everyone else saw. Everyone else saw. It's another 3-word line, and it just feels like it should be accompanied by music that's wah, wah, wah. Like when you lose it on a game show on TV and they have the, oh, sorry you lost music that plays. Because the first 2 lines are just built with lots of imagery and fun and beauty and like an exciting thing. And then you get to that last line and it's, oh man, everyone else is talking about this thing that they saw on the same tour I was on, and I didn't see it. And so I'm left out, and my experience feels incomplete or subpar, or one that just didn't quite meet expectations. At least it didn't meet the expectations of the other people on that same tour with me. And, that's part of life, and that's part of of human nature right there. That's the tan color in the ground box. And it felt like a good time of year to celebrate that. We're kind of in the run up to the big holiday seasons, the big end of the year, where we're feeling thankful for everything that we've gotten. Might be feeling nostalgic for times past, the hope and promise of a new year, of a new start. But, there's disappointments that happen along the way, disappointments in the year. And if, sometimes you don't see the kingfisher. But you still remember that at the end of the story, at the end of the trip. And that becomes part of the story. It becomes the thing that you remember. And that's worth celebrating in its own way. So thanks, Lee Hudspeth, for writing this wonderful poem. Thanks, Wales Haiku Journal, for doing a really great job of putting together another wonderful episode or issue. And thanks to you for tuning into my episode of Haiku Talk for yet another little journey together. So thank you very much. Do like this by giving it a thumbs up if you like this content. Think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do like this and have subscribed, think about ringing the bell to get notified for new episodes when they appear. Again, thank you very much. Until next time, may you all see a kingfisher, and if you don't, that's all right. Life goes on.